Good morning, I'm Robert Tan. Let's unlock the tricks of the trade, get to know the brilliant minds who changed their industries and created innovations that continue to influence lives. Be inspired here on Trade Talks, My Milyonaryo. In a world where most businesses chase profit, there are a few that choose purpose, companies built on service, compassion, and legacy. For more than 4 decades, Arlington Memorial Chapels and Crematory has helped Filipino families through one of life's hardest moments with dignity, care, and heart. Founded by the late Nestor Jose, Arlington is now led by his son, Rafael, continuing a 43-year legacy of compassion and excellence, recognized globally by the National Funeral Directors Association, the world's largest funeral service organization. Rafi, welcome to Trade Talks, My Milyonaryo. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for inviting us here.
Thank you. Now, Rafi, we all know that Arlington has been serving Filipino families for over 43 years. Now, how did your father, the late Nestor Jose, start this legacy, and what values from him still guide you today?
It's a good thing you asked me that. My dad, when he started the business, just had one thing in mind. It was to help family and friends secure a dignified funeral service for themselves. You see, my dad in the 70s was an exporter of funeral equipment, funeral hearses, and other stuff that were helping the bigger funeral homes in the business. At that point, when we came to them, they were giving our family and friends, fair prices. But as we moved on, I think, that deal was no longer honored. So I think my father felt that at that point he needed to own his funeral home and control the things that he wanted to do, the mission that he had in life, and that was to provide care and compassion to the families and friends that we were serving.
The bigger vision. Now, Rafi, this is a family business built on compassion. What was it like growing up in this world, and how did you prepare yourself to lead it into a new era? Were you already into it as a young man? Did your father get you into this? What were you doing before that?
Well, actually, when my father put up the first Arlington, that was in 1982, I was in second-year college. And just like my classmates, we all wanted the glamour of working for the banks. Citibank, Far East Bank. I guess you had the same vision for yourself. But when he asked for help, I said, okay, I'll give it a crack, maybe 2 or 3 years. Helping him out start the business in 1982. That 2 or 3 years ended up to be 43 years.
43 years.
So I've gotten myself entrenched in the business. The heart is in it. I know that his passion and his care for families, I've already inherited. But there was one thing missing for me. I did not have the training to be a funeral director. I did not have knowledge of the funeral industry. All we knew were the equipments that we were buying and we were selling.
So mainly just the supplies, not the service part
not
yet.
the service part. So the only way I could improve that was to keep attending the conferences abroad, getting to meet the shakers and movers of the international global industry, the funeral industry. And this is how I was able to get mentorship from some of the best also in the business. They showed me that technology and compassion work together. And that's how we were able to shape Arlington into what it is today.
Wow. Now, Arlington stands out in what people call funeral row. Now, what truly sets you apart from others in this industry?
Well, like I said, Arlington is known to be the innovators. It's known to be advanced in technology. So every year when we attend conferences, we look at what's new. We see what's going to be easier for our families, make it easier for our families to receive the kind of service that they get. Simple example of that was when cremation started. It was only started in 1986 in the Philippines. We were one of the first to set up our own crematory in-house, primarily so that our families did not have to go elsewhere to receive that kind of service from others. So We controlled everything from the moment they arrived at our facility up to the time that their cremated remains are delivered to their loved one.
How has the innovations changed? You mentioned you had to look outside globally. Wasn't there any events here in the Philippines that could provide that kind of teachings, learnings in this kind of industry? You had to go outside?
Yeah, unfortunately for the Philippines, even our embalmers don't have an actual mortuary school here. The closest mortuary school is in California. So for you to get your degree in embalming, a funeral degree, you would have to go to California. So the best substitute to that was really just to keep updated on what's happening annually at these conferences. And that's where we learn. So this is a whole week of conferences, workshops, seminars, where we attend almost the whole day. And whatever we pick up, we bring to our company, we bring to our families, the families that we serve.
So at this point in time, you saw the gap, you saw the problem, you tried to look for a solution. The Philippines being a predominantly Catholic country. So what are the kinds of learnings were you able to get from these events outside, these seminars outside of the Philippines?
Well, one simple example were the event places. Very early on in the U.S., they converted their small chapels, what they call their funeral home chapels, into event centers, into tribute centers. So we started converting our facility into tribute centers where, you know, the families would not just be staying there to celebrate the life of their loved one, but we took it into account that they were going to be there for the next 2 to 3 days. So we've had to install, you know, hotel-like bedrooms, showers, function rooms inside, and we made our chapels flexible, meaning openable, where you can stretch it depending on your need. One night you might just need it for 50 people because that's all that were able to come. Tomorrow it may be 100, 150. So how do you stretch a chapel for 50 to 150? Then you do what the hotels do. You open them up. You put openable partitions. And that's what we've started to do at Arlington. We give that flexibility to our clients. Whenever they need it, that's when we open up the succeeding chapels.
That's nice. Now, you looked at innovations outside. You've modernized the business here in the Philippines, from digital memorials to the new Maserati hearse. Let's talk a little bit about that later.
Yes.
Now, how do you balance now the innovation that you bring into this industry with the warmth that families expect when they get your service and they just want to grieve?
I'm glad you asked about the digital services because this was actually launched during the pandemic. And it was necessary for us to go into the live streaming technology simply because families were not allowed to be together. They weren't even allowed to join their loved one at death because of the way our Department of Health handled it. You could only just have the wake overnight and then have the burial the next day. So live streaming was the only way we could get our relatives or their relatives to be able to attend and pay their last respects. I think it's very important for all families to be able to express their grief and what the person meant to them during this moment. So live streaming allowed us to do that. We were able to launch a Spotify program for even our clients' favorite playlist that was playing during the live stream. So all of this we put into play during the pandemic. And up to today, when it is required, we are able to do that continuously for the clients that we serve.
But by providing that kind of service during that time where it was the lockdown, nobody could really go anywhere, how much did that help the families in terms of connecting? Technology, before it was so hard to, you have to make a phone call, there's no video. Now, how much of that has enabled your extra service in Arlington provide more connection with families outside of the Philippines and for them to be able to connect to their families here?
We see families that actually extend the live stream for hours because they're chatting. So when Zoom was around, it used to be limited to 40 minutes. We had to upgrade all our Zoom capabilities simply because our families would not stop talking to each other during the live stream. Even
you created
after,
a reconnection.
it aided the reconnection, and it became a reunion for a lot of them. And we honor that. I mean, if that's how they'd like to spend the time together and be able to grieve together, then that's what Arlington will do for them.
Well, that's one thing nice about technology. Now, Rafi, families come to you in grief, yet Arlington takes care of everything so that they can focus on saying goodbye. How do you create that stress-free experience to your to the families that come to you?
Yeah, the death of a loved one is always the
Yes.
hardest part of your life. It will always be stressful. And the only way that we can be of help to those families is to provide a safe space for them. That's the reason you put up such a facility. You don't want members of your family coming to you in a grocery and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you know, you lost your father." You're not going to cry your eyes out in a grocery 2 days or 3 days after. That's the reason you have the funeral chapel. That's the reason they come to us, so that they can grieve in private also when it needs to be, and be able to attend to their families and friends there, where it's a safe space to do it. When you come to a funeral home, you know that you're going there and you're feeling sad about something. You're going to be able to express that grief with the ones that you care for. So that's the reason for
But because these kinds of situations, you really can't prepare. But Rafi, we still have a lot to talk about on what kind of services Arlington provides to the families that grieve. But we'll take a short break. Trade Talks, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Trade Talks. We continue our conversation with Rafael Jose. He's the president and CEO of Arlington Memorial Chapels and Crematory. Rafi, before the break, we were talking about the kinds of innovation that Arlington has been doing. Let's talk a little bit about the Maserati hearse. How did that come about, and what was the focus here? What's the vision of bringing in a Maserati hearse?
Well, when we thought about bringing in, you know, the innovation, we were actually looking for a hearse that was going to be environmentally friendly. And fortunately for us, the Maserati was the first one that came out with a hybrid hearse, fully converted in Italy. And that's the reason we opted to go and buy the Maserati rather than any other brand. To date, there is no other hybrid hearse available in the US or in the Philippines.
It cannot be customized?
It is only customized in Italy at this point. I think this year Cadillac will come out, Lincoln will come out, but it probably won't be in our stores until 2027. So technically, this Maserati hearse, which was assembled in Italy, is the very first one in the Philippines and in Asia. It was assembled by BMA, which is the only accredited conversion specialist by both Maserati, BMW, Mercedes, and Jaguar.
Is this also part of Arlington's step to stand out in this very competitive industry? We know it's kind of a morbid industry, but you know, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to innovate. Is this part of that innovation in also helping sustainability?
Correct. We always want our clients to feel the dignity and being different from others. So the elegance of such a unit is, of course, valuable to them, not just to us. It gives them that feel that they've given their best to their loved one. And that's the reason we offer it to our clientele. The other reason being, and what we mentioned, was that one of our core values is really being environmentally concerned and friendly. So I think that's the bigger issue for us, is that we're able to deliver something to the public that still supports the core value of Arlington.
It's important to see even industries like this supporting sustainability with the advent of climate change. Now, moving on, Rafi, you've been trusted with the memorials of national figures like FPJ, Susan Roses, Gloria Romero, and Cardinal Sin. Now, with big names like that, how does it feel to be chosen to honor such legacies?
Truly an honor, and truly a fitting, feeling of gratitude that we're able to care for such dignitaries. But let me say that this is the same service that we intend to provide all of our clients, regardless of their stature.
To everyone.
To everyone. We're honored really that we were chosen to take care of them. And I think the reason these families selected us was because we were able to give them what they were looking for, whether it was the privacy of having to do it without the public knowing about it initially, or it was being able to handle the kind of crowd that was going to be coming to those visitations. FPJs alone was a big endeavor for us because that was thousands of people attending a wake. We had to, mobilize our whole crew in order to take care of such a huge funeral. Cardinal Sins was the same, and so was the head of the INC, Car Erdi. We also took care of him, and that everything we do with dignity, we do with elegance, so that we're able to pay tribute properly to our clients.
Among these, one story really stood out in terms of the services that Arlington provided. You also handled deeply personal stories like the farewell of Courageous Katie. How do you make each service so personal, so uplifting, even during the moments of deep grief?
Let me tell you, Courageous Katie was really one story for me because I saw the strength of that child battling the illness that she had. She gave her parents the strength to deal with what eventually was going to happen. And I think they knew it was going to happen at some point. But battling through that illness gave them the opportunity to prepare for it. So much so that when the time came, they were able to give her a tribute fitting of that courage. I wish all of us at some point would have that kind of courage so that we can leave our families with the kind of tribute also and memory of how much love we've given to them as well. So Courageous Katie is in all of us. She was a story that will always, touch at our hearts. And she will always be a story of strength, resilience for each and every one of us.
Rafi, I want to go back a little bit. If we could just talk a little bit about when your father passed. You mentioned, of course, it was a hard road, a hard journey, but you said it was also, in times like this, you can't prepare.
Right.
Even if you've been providing these kinds of services to families, you weren't prepared. How did this moment enable you to see this is the kind of service that we should provide the families in the future? Right. What were the lessons that gave you?
Well, I guess part of the stages of grief when somebody goes is really denial. And, when my father's death happened, we were all in denial. He told me what casket he wanted because we knew he had the brain cancer, a brain tumor. But I said, no, don't worry about it. We'll go and pick one when we go back to the US. You can pick it yourself. When it eventually happened, that casket wasn't ready because, the lining, the interiors were in a different color from the one that he wanted. So I had to rush everything for the next 6 to 8 hours in order to give it to him. We didn't even think about, who was going to take care of our refreshments.
Yes.
So we were ordering things as they came along. In fact, the big joke around the funeral home was that we were one of the most difficult families to deal with when the death occurred to my father. But it was truly a realization.
Yes.
So much so that in the future, we knew what to tell our families. We knew what to remind them of. You need to, put the proper things in place. We need to schedule the priest. We need to schedule the caterer. We need to schedule, the cemetery lot and all of these. So we put that down in place, similar to what would happen in a wedding. We now have a protocol to follow in whatever will happen in the next couple of days. Because unlike a wedding where you probably have a year or two to plan,
yes.
This thing happens within a couple of days.
Yes. It's in reality, you really can't prepare for something like this. I've attended funerals, and it's hard. when you see families, instead of being able to focus on grieving and talking to their families, they have to attend to food, they have to attend to the guests, they have to attend to all these, a thousand different things that they don't have time to grieve. It's just part of the service that you saw, the problem that you saw, and the solution that you provide, that it's from the start to the end. You just go there, you grieve, we will handle everything.
That will be our role for the families that we serve, is that from beginning to end, we will be there to sort of educate you what is needed. We will be there to advise you on the best way to handle certain situations. Like there are families who will come to us and say, Rafi, I don't want a 24-hour wake. How do I do it? I said, here's a suggestion. At the end of the evening, when you feel you're tired, here's a prayer. And with the prayer says, we thank you for coming tonight and, joining us. We welcome you to come back tomorrow as we say our final prayer for tonight. So the wake ends whenever you want it, and it continues the next day when you've announced it. So things like that we take into consideration already.
It's very nice, simple yet sincere.
Yes.
Now, Rafi, every December, Arlington holds its Yuletide Remembrance Tree, a tradition that honors families who've lost loved ones, and even your late father who passed away in December of 1992. How did this tradition start, and what does it mean to you and your team today?
Well, my father was always involved in charities for children and for the elderly. He was a constant donor to, churches and medical facilities for the elderly. So 10 years after his death, we sort of found a way to honor that for him by putting up what we call a Yuletide Remembrance Tree. It's actually a big tree that we put up every year in Arlington. And then we invite the families that we've served throughout the years to come and, honor their loved ones during the Yuletide season by putting their names in an ornament in that tree.
That's a nice tribute to see. But now, Rafi, I want to go into the part where Arlington was recently recognized internationally as one of the NFDA's Best of the Best awardees for 2024. Now, what does this kind of recognition mean for you and your team providing this full service to families who are grieving?
Well, this truly is an honor for Arlington because we are the only funeral home in the International Association that has received the Best of the Best 5 times. No other funeral company in the world has achieved the Best of the Best 5 years.
Oh, congratulations on that.
It's really a big success, and I'd like to thank my daughter, Bettina, and her Pursuit of Excellence team for having achieved this for us. And if you'll allow me to speak of what actually they presented to the National Funeral Directors, is a very simple idea. It's actually giving a day, dedicating a day to the carers, the caregivers of people who are on their final journey. So we often forget that caregivers, nurses,
it's a very important
even
part
doctors,
of that process.
take time to be with these people that are going. But we forget that they too have emotions. They too have a burden. And it is a day dedicated to them, where we try and help them, feel better by actually providing them a simple meal, maybe even just transportation from their place of work to...
Again, simple and sincere. Now, Rafi, finally, you're leading a legacy business here that continues to evolve with purpose. What advice would you give the next generation of entrepreneurs about building something that lasts, not just for profit, but for people, and providing full service to them?
I think a legacy business is based on trust, loyalty, and your dedication to the people that you serve. So in order for a company like Arlington to continue serving its clients, we have to dedicate ourselves to our mission, which is really care and compassion for all the families that we serve. My dad always said that the best way to treat your clients is to treat them like family.
Yes, definitely.
And definitely that is how I hope the next generation of Arlington, Tatak Arlington people, will be caring for the families like their very own.
That would be a very good legacy to leave. Now, Rafi, thank you so much for sharing your story and for showing us that true business success can come from compassion and service. And at times like these, when you can't prepare, it's good to know that we have Arlington to provide that full service and just grieve as a family when that time happens. Thank you so much, Rafi, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Robert, for inviting us over here. Thank you.
And that's our show today. Catch us again on Trade Talks My Milyonaryo for inspiring stories like these of entrepreneurs and innovators and the secrets to their success. I'm Robert Tan. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.